When humans first drilled into the ground, brought up some ancient organic matter, and thought, I could burn that, no one could have predicted the consequences. Some centuries, steam trains, rocket ships, and megacities later, we're starting to find out. This is the story of how a revolutionary discovery became what might be our greatest mistake. The world is a pretty overwhelming place right now.
A global pandemic.
Increased social inequality.
Political polarization.
And that ever-present thorn in our side, climate change.
Climate change. Extreme weather.
Sea levels are rising.
Biodiversity is reportedly declining. Have left the world in a climate emergency.
In this series, we'll explore how we got here, where we're headed, and what we can do to make a difference. This is The Breakdown. To understand where we are today, we have to go back in time, way back. Ever since planet Earth popped into the cosmos 4.5 billion years ago, the climate has been changing. Long before we got here, the Earth has been warming, cooling, erupting, cracking, enduring meteorites, and slipping in and out of ice ages. These natural cycles and events have led to 5 mass extinctions. The last one occurred around 65 million years ago, seeing off one of the Earth's most successful inhabitants, the dinosaurs. It was only 6 million years ago that our first human ancestors showed up to try their own luck. And after a few million years of shuffling around, we hit the jackpot. You see, the past 10,000 years have been a period of unprecedented climate stability.
So climate fluctuation, climate variability is part of the history of the Earth. But humans, as we know it, human civilization, the rise of what we would call civilization, has almost all occurred within the last 10,000 years.
We stopped hunting and gathering and started sowing and harvesting.
So it was possible to stay in one place. You didn't have to move because the climate had become intemperate. You could begin to raise animals. You could learn what crops grew well and really come to understand the natural environment in which you lived.
The agricultural revolution was born, and humans began to transform the Earth. Some centuries, a lot of spears, and a bunch of kings and queens later, we won the lottery again. This time with the discovery of something called fossil fuels. Ancient plant and animal matter buried deep underground in the form of coal, natural gas, and oil.
So sometime in the 18th century, people began to realize that you could burn coal in bulk and that you could use that to generate steam and you could use that to run a steam engine. That's what made it possible to develop factories, to invent and use electricity, to build out industrial capacity, manufacturing capacity. And as anyone who knows anything about history knows, that totally changed the way we live. We went from being, largely an agricultural society to being largely an industrial society.
Our population exploded from 4 million to more than 7 billion people. And in the process, we built a modern civilization powered almost entirely by ancient fossils.
So fossil fuels opened up a world of opportunity for people, created a world of materials, a world of possibility, and that was good, but it had this Achilles heel.
What we didn't realize back then was that not only are fossil fuels a finite resource that would eventually run out, but that burning them would release copious amounts of invisible gases into the atmosphere, trapping in hot air and causing the Earth's temperature to rise.
So one of the clearest things scientifically, one of the things that's absolutely proven, no question about it, is that as the Earth gets warmer, ice melts. And some of that ice will melt and go into the ocean and sea level will rise. And then the other thing that is essentially proven scientifically is that heat is a form of energy. Energy has to go somewhere. So where does the energy in the atmosphere go? It goes into weather. It goes into making bigger and badder storms. And so what we've seen in the last 10, 15 years is that we're seeing an increase in extreme weather events that are made worse by climate change.
We have now left the period of climate stability, which made modern civilization possible. And we have entered uncharted territories. Humans, particularly from the global north, are now the dominant force, changing our climate and our environment. And as a result, today biodiversity is in crisis. and the Earth is hotter than it has ever been in all of human history. Humanity now faces its greatest challenge yet. We need to transform the systems that shape our lives before we make the planet uninhabitable for millions of people. And we need to do this in a way that is just and fair for those who are both the most vulnerable and also the least responsible. People talk a lot about saving the Earth. But the fact is, the Earth would be fine without us. When we're gone, it'll warm and cool and freeze and thaw and spin into new and exciting eras. It'll withstand asteroids, birth new life, and become home to a plethora of weird and wonderful species. It will be fine. You see, this isn't the Earth's crisis. This is humanity's crisis. And it's the survival and well-being of our species and all the life we share this ancient rock with that's at stake. To learn more about how to take action on the climate crisis, check out our Instagram account, Earthrise Studio. In other episodes of The Breakdown, we explore topics like climate denial, climate justice, and climate solutions. There's loads you can do about climate change. Here are a few actions that are relevant to this episode. This series was made possible by Waterbear Network, a new and interactive platform that allows you to watch content about the future of our planet and directly take action. It's totally free to create an account, so why not check it out?